Have you ever stopped to think that there might be this hidden world of value right under our noses? In places we're all trained to just see as junk. Well, today, we're going to dive into a system for seeing what everybody else misses. And believe it or not, it all kicks off with a simple phone call about a dumpster.
So picture this. This is where our story really kicks off. You've got an 80-year-old woman. She's moving into assisted living. And her kids? They just want to clear out her late husband's old stuff. This kind of thing happens every single day, right? But the question is, what's really happening here?
Yeah, to most people, this is just a clean-out job, a chore, right? Something you solve by calling up a company and getting a big metal bin dropped in the driveway. But if you look at it through a completely different lens, it's a potential 1,000 times return on your investment. That massive gap, that chasm between those two realities, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
So the big question is, how on earth do you bridge that gap? Well, it's not magic, I can tell you that. It's a method. It's all about learning to see the clues that are hidden in plain sight, the ones that tell a story of incredible, untapped value.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics of this case. We're looking at an 80-year-old widow's home, and here's the kicker. It has been completely untouched for 30 years. It is jam-packed with the belongings of her late husband who, and this is important, was a Heathkit engineer. Right now, those are the only facts we have, but trust me, they're more than enough.
See, the key here isn't just about looking at the stuff in the house. Nope. The real key is decoding the life behind all those objects. Every little demographic marker, age, job, life events, it's like a breadcrumb. And if you know how to follow that trail, it leads you straight to a treasure map.
All right, let's break down that first clue. Heathkit engineer. Now, to most people, that just means, oh, okay, the guy worked in electronics. But the real meaning, the deep meaning, that's where the gold is. See, Heathkit wasn't just some company, it was a whole culture. It was for people who meticulously, painstakingly built their own high-end equipment from kits, documenting every single step along the way.
And because we know that one simple job title lets us predict, with something like an 80% accuracy, what's inside that house before we even step foot in it. We're talking vintage oscilloscopes and signal generators, stuff worth anywhere from $500 to $2,000 each. We're talking drawers, neatly labeled drawers, by the way, full of valuable vintage tubes and resistors, a complete library of manuals and schematics. And maybe the most important part? Everything will be organized. It's not going to be buried in some chaotic mess.
Okay, let's move on to our second clue, and you'll see how this all starts to stack on top of each other. The phrase, house untouched for 30 years. Now, most people hear that and they think, ugh, what a money pit. That thing needs a total gut renovation. But an expert hears a preservation multiplier. This isn't a negative at all. It's a massive amplifier for the value of literally everything inside.
Yeah, we call this the time capsule effect. What does that mean? Well, it means there's a way higher chance of finding items in mint or near mint condition, maybe even still in their sealed original boxes. It also means that no one has already come through and cherry-picked the good stuff at an estate sale a few years back. And this is a big one, it gives you a huge edge because other potential buyers are totally scared off by the oldness. They see it as a flaw, not the amazing feature that it is.
All right, now for the final clue, and honestly, this one is absolutely critical. The kids are calling for a dumpster. This isn't just a logistical detail, you guys. It is a powerful, flashing neon sign of market inefficiency. It's basically the starting gun for the entire opportunity. So why is that so important? Well, because it tells you the family is completely overwhelmed, emotionally and physically. They just see stuff. They don't see inventory. Their mental price tag for everything in that house is literally negative. They are willing to pay money to make it all just disappear. This creates this enormous gap between what they know and what you know, and that gives you an immediate entry point before any competitors even have a clue this opportunity exists.
So you see, these clues, they aren't just random gut feelings. They are inputs. They feed into a formal system, a real method, for turning these little breadcrumbs into a predictive map of value.
And that system is called Forensic Value Intelligence, or FVI for short. The best way to think of it is like a cognitive operating system for your brain. It uses this core framework called behavioral archaeology, which is basically the science of reconstructing a person's life from their belongings to predict where hidden value is hiding, long before the regular market ever sees it.
And look, this system works. It works precisely because most people are operating without it. And in the process, they make these predictable mistakes that leave just enormous amounts of money sitting right there on the table.
And this is really the crucial point of the whole thing. The value isn't in the heavy lifting. It's not about how many hours you spend hauling boxes. The market doesn't pay for labor. The market pays for information asymmetry. It pays you for knowing something that other people don't. Like knowing that a dusty old manual is worth $200 while everyone else just sees it as trash.
And here's how that value gets totally destroyed every single day. You've got well-meaning people who clean an old item and accidentally strip away all its valuable patina. Or they toss out obsolete things like manuals that are actually super collectible. They get overwhelmed by a deadline and they end up paying to have tens of thousands of dollars in assets hauled straight to a landfill. Or, and this one happens all the time, they just trust the first so-called expert who comes along and offers them pennies on the dollar.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole intelligence system, it's not just about one-off estate sales anymore. It's evolving. That same human pattern recognition, the kind that's been honed over 30 years of experience, is now being scaled with artificial intelligence.
Think about it. What used to be locked inside a single expert's brain, someone who could maybe handle, 10 or 20 of these estates a year, is now being encoded into algorithms. And that allows the system to analyze thousands of properties all at once, spotting these patterns at a scale that it was never possible before.
And this way of thinking, this FVI model, it applies everywhere. Seriously. Imagine predicting the value of salvageable materials in a house just from its online real estate listing, using AI to scan the photos for valuable old fixtures or hardwood floors, or forecasting a company's biggest challenges just by analyzing the career histories of its leadership team. It becomes this universal tool for finding hidden value wherever you look.
When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one powerful idea. Value isn't something that you have to create out of thin air. It's already there. It's all around us all the time. The only thing that really needs to change is our perspective, the lens that we use to see the world.
So really, the takeaway here is pretty simple. These opportunities are everywhere, just hiding in plain sight. This whole system, it isn't about finding treasure and junk. It's about retraining your brain to see the treasure that was always there to begin with. So the only question left for you is, now that you know what to look for, are you going to be able to see it?